So, in the realm of self improvement, like you hear all these big dudes talk about how sports are unproductive and watching sports is really bad and all that kind of stuff. And it really makes someone like myself who plays sports and has seen sports change his life for like the immense better that it really makes you start thinking like, am I doing something productive? And obviously, since you're on self improvement, you want to be doing something productive, right? And so I had to go through a lot of mental struggles, a lot of mental struggles. I just had to go through a lot of thinking, like, okay, am I doing something productive? Whatever, right? And so there is a complicated answer to this question. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's probably going to be a little bit longer than my normal. So I'll leave timestamps for certain specific things. So you hear all kinds of different opinions on sports and self improvement. Are they productive? Are they not? And through a lot of thinking, through journaling, through coming to really like analyzing both ideas, you come to realize that yes, they are productive in certain ways. So I'll give an example. There's a guy like me, or maybe yourself. I'm assuming that if you're watching this video, you are someone who likes sports, or maybe you're trying to get into sports and you don't really know what to do. So for me, I play basketball and tennis. I'm a basketball player at heart, but I do play tennis as my secondary sport. So say there's this guy like myself who's watching NBA film, trying to see what Steph Curry and all the best guys are doing in their game so that I can copy them, learn their moves, and apply them into my game. Okay? Say I'm doing it that way. But say there's this other dude who does not play sports whatsoever. He doesn't have any dreams of ever becoming pro in sports. He's just consuming them. And he's sitting on his couch eating Doritos and drinking Pepsi. Okay? There are two different types of people we're talking about here. When you look at it in this way, so I have a some stuff I want to talk about on the computer. So if I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my notes and stuff. So there's two different types of people we're talking about here. When you dissect this idea to these two different types of guys, the Pepsi drinking, Dorito eating guy, and then the guy who's actually trying to watch sports so that he can learn and become better at the sport he's already playing. When you dissect it like this and look at it closely, the answer becomes pretty obvious. And I really do think a lot of us could have just like done a deep journaling session about this and really just examined it for maybe, like an entire day, really just focused on the subject. And you probably would have gotten over this, but myself and probably you, if you're watching this video, you haven't done that yet. And so I hope by you watching this video, I can kind of destroy this for you without you having to do that now. But it becomes obvious when you separate it like that and you really dissect the what we're talking about here. We see that one guy, the guy who's not eating Doritos and Pepsi, the guy who's watching it to learn, is doing something productive, right? The Dorito eating guy is obviously not doing something productive, and then the guy who's actually learning to get better is doing something productive because he is actually playing the sport and he's trying to get better at it to better his team. So I'm trying to go for team captain on my basketball this year. I'm trying to go for team captain. I'm trying to go for all stars. I'm trying to lead my team this year, as I have tried to do it in the past. But this year, I really do feel like it's my time. It's my time to step in as that leader. Uh, so I want to be good at basketball, right? And these big guys who talk about sports in a bad light, and when I say big guys, the big guys in self improvement, you know, they bash people who watch sports sometimes, and they are mainly talking about the Dorito eating guy. You know, Like, no one's gonna bash LeBron James for watching basketball. No one's gonna bash Steph Curry for watching basketball. Why? Because that's their job. That's how they're millionaires. That's how they are where they are. And so, if you do have a dream to go pro, it would be stupid to think that, oh, I'm not going to watch sports because, some big guy on the internet told me that it's not productive to watch sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to watch sports to get better at sports. Steph Curry would have never played basketball if he never liked the sport of basketball. You kind of see where I'm going with this? So, like, say maybe you don't have the right odds. You're not tall enough, or whatever. You're not going to go pro. But say the job that you want to do, say you want to go to college for a certain type of degree, it would be productive for you if you're already playing a sport to try and get a scholarship into college, right? So you don't have to pay all of your college. It would be nice to get a full ride scholarship if you're good at sports. Is it going to be unproductive for you to watch sports in that situation? Of course not. Because you're trying to get better at the college level. So you'll watch like the NCAA for basketball. You'll watch March Madness for basketball and study the plays that they run in this game. That's productive for a guy who's playing sports. These guys who are bashing sports on the internet, I guarantee you, they're not talking about you. They're talking about the Dorito eating guy, in the situation. You know, they're talking about the guy who's not playing sports. He's mindlessly consuming, and subconsciously, he's thinking like, he's just wishing that he was them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of guys who just watch sports just to watch it, and like they don't think it, in their mind, or some of them probably do, honestly. But most of them, like subconsciously, are thinking, "I wish I was them." They wish they were in that position, playing a sport and just getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport. So I believe that if you're playing sports, you're doing something very productive, especially if you're on a sports team. Like I can raise my hand and say that joining the basketball team changed my life. You know, some people will tell you just like to not play sports, and there's I'm gonna get into this later on in the video. There will be a complete section for this in the video. I'm assuming this video is gonna be around 15-20 minutes. There is a part of YouTube that just like completely says don't play sports. Joining the basketball team changed my life. You know, like if I had not joined the basketball team, I wouldn't be here on camera. I wouldn't be here talking about self improvement because really basketball. If I had not joined basketball, I would never have found like self improvement on YouTube. I never would have found self development and like gym videos and other stuff. Because bro, my entire YouTube feed was Fortnite and like Apex Legends. Like my entire homepage was video games. And so why would YouTube ever recommend me a gym video or self improvement video when I'm not watching that kind of content? And so, bro, I can't, I get really mad about this because I didn't take like hardly any like legit mindful progress pictures of my physique and my weight and anything, which is kind of sad. I still need to get on that because like if you're like just getting on to self improvement, you're going to take progress pictures, bro. You will thank me later because I wish I did more of them. But as like coming from memory, I was 190 pounds before I started playing basketball. Mind you, I was shorter back then. Okay, 190 pounds. Guess how much I weigh now? Just did an arm workout today. Pretty trash lighting. But guess how much I weigh now? I weigh 172 pounds. Give or take, sometimes I weigh a little bit more, a little bit less. On average, I weigh 172 pounds now. I'm taller and I'm more muscular. People tell me I wasn't overweight, bro. Like, I was overweight. I was overweight, okay? Don't tell me I wasn't overweight. I know what I was. So, like, if I had not joined basketball, I would not have had the motivation or just like the purpose to lose that weight, because when you join a sports team, especially basketball, like if you look up how many calories burn just playing basketball. Like it's insane. Like it's insane how many calories you burn in like one basketball game. And imagine like going to 3 practices a week and three. I don't go to public school, so we don't practice every day. I join homeschool, so I go to a homeschool league. If any of y'all are wondering why I only go to 3 practices a week. But just going 3 practices a week, like I lost that weight quick, you know. So, and I never would have had the motivation to do that if I was never joining a sports team. Because at the time, I really did hate working out. Story, I would play video. Okay, I would work out just so that I could play video games for longer. Because like my parents, like they only allow me to play like an hour and a half a day. And so back in the day, I would make like deals with my dad, right? I said like, Dad, if I work out today, can I play video games for 2.5 hours because there's a Fortnite tournament or something? True story, by the way, and that happened many a time, many a time. So maybe that's the one way of getting me into the gym. But dang, bro, how far we've come is crazy. How far I've come is crazy. So like, if I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself here, but if I had never joined the basketball team, I never would have lost that weight. I never would have started lifting weights after my first season because after my first season, like literally right after, I started lifting weights because I didn't like how I looked in my jersey. Um, I never would have worked on my discipline to get to where I was literally shooting 200 shots, not shooting, making 200 shots every day, working on basketball literally 3 to 4 hours a day consistently for a hot minute. I don't do that anymore, but at my peak, I was doing that every single day. It's crazy. Like, and that got me to watching certain type of YouTube videos. It started getting me to watch basketball videos, and then through watching basketball videos, I started watching stretching videos, I started watching gym videos, and then through getting into that realm of YouTube, YouTube finally started recommending me self improvement content, and then now I'm here teaching you about self improvement. Like, if I had never joined a sports team, in reality, I really don't think I'd be here talking to you. Period. You know, it it changed my life. It helped me get really good. It helped me with my social skills because back in the day, before I did a sports team, and I had done other stuff before basketball and taekwondo, so I wasn't like completely isolated. My whole like childhood and stuff. I did Boy Scouts. I did Boy Scouts is very good. I'll make a video on that in the future. I did taekwondo, um, and I did one season of baseball. Come to find out, I'm not a baseball player. So, but joining basketball, specifically in my high school years, changed everything for me. So now let's go into a new section. So we talked about how sports are productive if done in the right way. But there is a certain type of people. I watch a specific dude on YouTube who's like this, and I've kind of become a hybrid in both realms. But there are people out there, my age, by the way, like my age, who purposefully don't do sports because they want to work on their business. Right. The people who do this, right? The people who put sports aside, the people who don't indulge in this kind of stuff. And when I say indulge, it makes it sound like a bad habit, but it's not. But when people rebuke this and purely focus on their business, those people are going to be ahead of you in the realm of business for the time being. For the time being. So don't freak out. But it makes sense, right? If someone, there's this one guy who's going all in on business, right? And there's this one guy who's going half half business, maybe 3/4 business, but 1/4 half whatever sports, right? The guy who's going all in is obviously going to progress faster in business. He will probably get to $10,000 a month before you. Sports are not going to get you to $10,000 a month, and a lot of times sports take some money out of your pocket instead of putting it in. I know colleges are starting to pay players and stuff, but we're not even going to worry about that right now, right? We're just talking about high school sports right now. You're going to have to pay for shoes. You're going to have to pay for jerseys if you're kind of doing what I'm doing. At least in homeschool, we have to pay for certain things that public schoolers wouldn't have to. Um, and so like, and if you're at a private school, you're obviously going to have to pay to be in the private school. So you're not going to make money playing sports. You're just going to take money out of your pocket. So these guys who are working on their business are going to be ahead of you in the realm of business for now. But I think the trade off that you get when you play sports like this, because the habits and the values that you gain from playing sports, they all carry over into business, like discipline, hard work, doing the hard work when you don't feel like it, and stuff like that, and teamwork. Those all carry into business. So those are going to help you when you do go all in. So I think the trade off is pretty equal, right? Right. And you're going to catch up to these guys who are doing it already, right? You're not setting yourself up for failure your entire life in the realm of business. Let's see here. And so your goals in life, if you're watching me, a self-improvement YouTuber, it's probably financial freedom, time freedom, and location freedom, right? That's my goals. I want to be financially free. I want to be location free so I could travel the world. And I want to be time free, right? You might think professionals in sports get this, like all of this. They really don't, bro. They still have managers, they still have contracts. Like, they're not that free. An entrepreneur who, let's just say, runs an SMMA agency or is a YouTuber is way more free than Steph Curry, right? Because he has to worry about contracts, he has to worry about, there's managers and stuff involved. Like you'd think he's free, but he's really not. So if you do want that, like say you are trying to go pro, I'm not like if you want to go pro, bro, that's great, and I think that's if you love doing a sport, definitely do that. Um, but there's a very small percentage of people who do go pro, but I'm not saying it's impossible at all. But also take into mind that you're not going to be as free as an entrepreneur if you do become pro. So, especially in basketball, I can't really speak for too many other sports, but in basketball, I do know this. Um, yeah, so I also had to make a choice. So, like, talking about like making a choice between business and sports, like one guy's going to be ahead of you, and one guy's like you might fall a little bit behind in business if you're spending more time on sports. I had to make the choice to cut back on sports because I've always been the person to try to be the best at what I'm doing, right? In anything I've ever done. And so when I joined the basketball team, I climbed the ranks very, very fast. Like the coaches were very impressed. I went from like literally one of the newest player on the team. I had like never played basketball before to scoring 13 points in one of my basketball games for my first ever season. I was really the second best guy on the 14U in my first season. Like because I worked my butt off to get there because I just hated being trash, right? I cannot tolerate being trash. I'll always work my way up no matter what I'm doing. And so I'm going hard in sports, right? But you cannot go hard in sports and also try to go hard and be a businessman and also try to do all these other things, right? You have to prioritize one thing. And so for me, I had to make the choice to cut back on sports because sports are not going to be in my life forever. The business is. I'm all well, at least for a very bigger portion than sports will be. So I made the choice to not go to college. I'm not going to college, right? Um, and for the longest time, my dream or my goal was to play basketball in college. I wanted to play at a good college, and I wanted to excel in basketball. So I was working every day. I was watching Kobe Bryant motivational videos every day. I was staying up late watching Ryan Rizuki. If you are really into basketball, you probably know who Ryan Rizuki is. Um, I'm watching Mikey Williams. I'm watching Bronny James and all kinds of stuff in these high school matches. Eli Ellis. Y'all might know some of these guys. And it's just like that was my focus. But then when I really started getting into self improvement and I really started to like try to do business stuff, I had to make a choice. I'm not going to college. I don't want to pay student loans. I don't want to get in college, and because I really do think if I go to college, I'm not going to become a millionaire as soon as I want to be in my life. And so I had to make. I hope I'm not out of focus. And so I had to make a choice to not go to college and whatever. And when I gave up college, I really just sealed the deal. Like, okay, you can like still be the best basketball player you can be, but you don't have to overthink it. And that's really made me a better basketball player in general, just not overthinking anymore, because overthinking kills basically all the players and stuff. That's a sports video on its own. But you do have to make sacrifices depending on where you want to be in life as a whole. So if you are trying to be a millionaire young in your 20s like me, but you also have a dream to go to college and go pro in sports, let's just say that, I'm going to need you to right now, if you have a journal, maybe take out a journal, to examine the truth. Examine the facts. Okay, I want you to analyze your life. I can't speak for your life. I have no idea who you are. Um, but you need to look at your life, say where you are in basketball, how good you are at basketball for your age. Maybe compare yourself to some of the other pros that how the pros were at your age. Be legit and truthful of how much you're practicing every day, like the kind of work you're putting in. Be truthful of what school you play at, because that's a big deal. Be truthful of how tall you're going to grow. Like, I'm speaking for basketball here, so other sports I can't speak for them. But be honest with yourself of your odds of ever going pro. And then also examine the odds of you ever going to college. Are you putting in the work to go to college? Are you tall enough that you get a lot of playing time in college? Can you get a scholarship going to college? Be truthful with yourself and analyze, okay, what's more important to you? Playing sports for 4 more years or being a millionaire at 22, let's just say that, traveling the world and living like literally everybody's dream life. Like, who doesn't want to live that way? It was thundering outside. I need you to analyze that. I need you to analyze what's more important to you and the odds of you ever going pro or really succeeding the way you want to succeed in whatever sport you play. Because that's going to determine what sacrifices have to be made. I'm not saying don't ever stop practicing your sport, because I'm still trying to be the best basketball player I can be in the time frame that I have. Right? Like I said, I'm still trying to be team captain. I'm still trying to lead my team to a championship this year. I'm still trying to be better at basketball every single day, just be a better athlete in general. But in the grand scheme of things, I had to say, I'm sacrificing college. I'm sacrificing, how much time I am going to be spending on basketball every day, because I need to have the brain points and the energy to focus on this. And so you need to be able to know what's more important to you in this part of your life right now. That's up to you, bro. I'm not saying do this route or this route. I'm just saying that whichever is more important to you, that's what you need to follow. That's what you need to choose, and you need to make the adequate sacrifices to achieve your goals, right? Let's. So, yes, in my opinion, playing sports is productive. However, at the end of the day, you have to be able to analyze your life and goals, because your situation is probably a little bit different than mine, right? I do think as a whole, if used rightly, playing sports will benefit you greatly in life. Period. You know, especially in high school. I can't speak for college because I'm a little bit biased. I'm not going to college. I don't think college is going to be beneficial for me. But strictly high school, I think every guy should very much consider playing sports and should, in my opinion, play sports. But if you just don't want to do sports and you know that you will have the discipline to go full in on business, do that. But if you don't have the discipline to play like to do business right now, it is way better for you to play sports than sit around and play video games. Right. So yeah, bro. My name's Charlie. I am a homeschooled athlete and entrepreneur on self improvement. Much love to you, bro. Keep improving your life. Never stop. All right, you have a good night, bro.